help me welcome Ron.
Fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests, and lady with new car. Jerry, your goal, or one of your goals, was to present an unfamiliar topic. You came out and you opened with, who has a lawn? You've had my attention, because not only do I have a lawn, and I've had this lawn for 30 years, but for the first time in 30 years, I watered it twice in 1 week. So, when you say that there's lawn envy, I'm beginning to get a bit of that, and that's why I watered my lawn. You presented us with some really interesting facts, like who would have ever guessed that, especially coming from my perspective, that it's a $2 billion industry in Canada and $29 billion in the US. You then gave us the history of the lawn, and who would have ever thought that lawns actually have a history? And it started in the 16th century as open spaces. And there you had gardens and livestock. And that's what it was, just open spaces. Then in World War II, as all the troops came back, they started building subdivisions. And one of the requirements was that you actually had to mow your lawn once a week. And that was the beginning of the modern lawn. And then you told us your story, which was very interesting. Your fixation with the perfect lawn. And thankfully, you'd never visited my place. You then explained to us what one can do instead of spending all this money on a lawn. One, in fact, could create a garden out of it. And not only can you create a garden, you can make oodles of money. Like it worked out to about $12,000 per lawn, because John had 3 lawns and $35,000. Your next goal was to make it clear and easy to understand, and no doubt about it, you used simple sentences, simple terms, and your story, your personal story, made it easier to follow too. The whole thing was just simple, very logical, easy to understand. Oh yeah, cited sources, and this was really great. I mean, you put them right here. I've never seen that done before. How clever. But nowhere did you really mention them. And I think that the idea was that the sources were supposed to be perhaps presented in the story or quoted. And I think that what you could have done as an alternative is just have one slide at the very end. So while you're walking back, those that had interest could have looked it up. Overall, I really think that you met all the goals, no doubt about it. It was informative, it was unique, it was easy to follow, and it was interesting. The only suggestion is, I think for the first time I've ever seen you lose your spot. In all your other speeches, I don't recall you kind of stumbling, because your speeches usually just flow all the way through. And this time, one spot, I just thought you lost your place. Outside of that, a little bit of rehearsing, and you've got her mastered.